we got you. Wherever you want to from, we got what you need. Toilet online class, we got you.
Good day, everyone. Once again, you are welcome to Toilet online class. Just as I've introduced the set of numbers, so the first set of numbers. Good day, viewers all over the world. You are welcome to Toilet online class. So today, we are going to continue with the question and answer section. So yesterday we started the question and answer section, and we were able to treat about 22 questions yesterday. So we want to continue from there today. So as I said yesterday, that if you are given a multiple choice question that required short answer, it is expected that you should be able to look at that question and be able to get the answer at a very fast rate, because you can be given 50 multiple choice question and we have to answer the question in less than 30 minutes. So we were able to discuss about 22 yesterday. So I want to continue from there. Okay, like this is another question now. Question 1 for today. Simplify square root of 45 plus square root of 20 plus square root of 125 minus square root of 80. No, we've considered sorts. So you can check one of the videos. I have about 35 videos on the channel. So check one of the video. There's one video dedicated to sorts there. So if you have this type of problem now, then you are expected to rewrite all this in the basic form. Basic form in the sense that you are going to express this as, you look at this 45, something is common, and that is 5. So when we say 9 times 5, that is 45. Then what is square root of 9? Let me just explain here, but you can do it directly. Plus, in this case now, you can say 5 times 4. Plus, here we have 125 times 5. Then minus, here we are going to have 16 times 5. So if you want to simplify, if you want to write sort in its basic form, you break it down into 2. Then you make sure that one of the factor that you have there must be a perfect square. Perfect square in the sense that the square of that factor and the square root of that factor must give us a whole number. So in this case now, 9 is a perfect square, because square of 9 is 3. The square of 9 is 1 and square root of 9 is 3. So what is square root of 9? That is 3. Then I'll change this to 3 square root of 5. So I've changed 45 to its basic form. Plus, in this case now, what is square root of 4? That is 2. I'll change this to 2 square root of 5. Then plus square root of, here will be 25. 125 is 25 times 5. Square root of 25 is 5. That's 5 root 5. Then minus square root of 16 is 4. So I will have 4 root 5. That's what I'm going to get. So I will have 4 root 5. So if we solve this now, everything is in base 5, square root of 5, 5, 5. So we just add and subtract. 3 plus 2 is 5. 5 plus 5, 10. So we have 10 square root of 5 minus 4 square root of 5. Then if you subtract, you are going to get 6 square root of 5 as the answer. So if you are given this now, without going through this process, you can just look at it and say, okay, this is 45. 9 times 5, 45. You know that square root of 9 is 3. Just change this to 3 root 5. This to 2 root 5. Then this to 5 root 5. We are going to get 10. Then minus 4. Immediately you know that your answer is 6 root 5. In other multiple choice questions, you are going to have options like A, B, C, D. So you are expected to pick the correct options. So 6 root 5 might be one of the options. They might start to write 10 root 5, maybe C 4 root 5. One of the four options, four or the three or four options will be the correct answer. So, but if you know what to do, you are going to get it straight away. So this the first question that we are going to consider for today. Then we take another question. Let's take another question. Let me take another question on that sort. Let's take another question where we have simplify. Simplified 1 all over square root of 3, square root of 5 minus square root of 3 minus 1 all over square root of 5 plus square root of 3. Of course, if you have something of this nature, you find the LCM. The LCM will be square root of 5 minus square root of 3 into bracket square root of 5 plus square root of 3. So this in this, we are going to have this. So we are going to have square root of 5 plus square root of 3 minus is the operating sign there. This in this, you are going to have this square root of 5 minus square root of 3. Of course, our denominator, just rewrite this. We have square root of 5 plus square root of 3. This minus will control everything there. So minus times plus will be minus square root of 5, minus times minus plus square root of 3 all over. So at the denominator, you have a sword and its conjugate. And when you use the sword to multiply its conjugate, you must have a whole number. So what we do is that instead of expanding, just square the first one minus the square of the second one. That is, you say square root of 5 all squared minus square root of 3 all squared. That is the answer that we are going to get here. So square root of 5 all squared, square we cancel square root, we have 5 minus this, we cancel this, minus 3. Then at the numerator, minus 5 can take square root of 5 can take square root of minus 5. Then here I'm going to have square root of 3 plus square root of 3. That is 2 square root of 3 all over 5 minus 3 is 2. So that will be 2. Then 2 will cancel 2. At the end of the day, the answer is square root of 3. So that answer will be square root of 3. So we just have to look at it very well. We look at what we are given and know that we are doing the right thing. So that is what to do. So that is what to do. I'm trying to place the board very well. All right. So this is what you are going to get. If you solve this is what you are going to get. So let's take another question. We'll take another question. So question 3. Let's take another question. Question 3. So in this case now, okay, it's under polynomial. The question says find the remainder when 3x cubed minus 4x squared plus 2x plus 3 is divided by x minus 1. Okay, this question is under polynomial. So when we discuss, I have a video on polynomial. So if you want to know more about polynomial, just go through the video, just listen to the video on polynomial. So we have discussed polynomial in one of the previous classes. So if you want to find the remainder, there are two ways to do that. You can use the long division method. That is, you are going to put this is the divisor, x minus 1. Then this is the quotient, this is what you are given. So use the long division method and say, you put this here, say this is 3x cubed minus 4x squared plus 2x plus 3 divided by x minus 1. You can do that and get your answer. Or use the remainder theorem. If you want to use the remainder theorem, the remainder theorem is very fast. It is very fast and it's very simple. So is that you use that long division method or use the remainder theorem. For instance, say this is polynomial p of x is defined as 3x cubed minus 4x squared plus 2x plus 3. And this is what you are given. So the remainder theorem says that if you now find the value of x, just say x minus 1 is equal to 0, then x is equal to 1. So if you find p of 1, if you divide the polynomial as p of x, if you find p of 1 when x is equal to 1, that the result that you arrive at will be the remainder when this divide this. Then if you do that, this is 3 into bracket 1 cube minus 4 into bracket 1 squared plus 2 into bracket 1 plus 3. So what do we get here? This is 3 minus 4 plus 2 plus 3. Then at the end of the day, we have 3 plus 2 plus 3. That is 8 minus 4. And we are going to get 4. So if you use x minus 1 to divide the quotient there, we are going to get 4 as our remainder. So you can use if you use the long division method, this is what we arrive at. But the remainder theorem is very simple. It's very simple and it's accurate because it's not everybody that know how to divide use the long division method. So when this divide this, the remainder is 4. And that's what we have done. So if you want to know more about polynomial, just go through the videos and check that of polynomial and listen to it. Okay. Then there's another question that we have here. The question says we have to evaluate this under matrix. Evaluate if A is equal to, that is, we should evaluate the determinant. If A is equal to 143, we have 625, then we have 170. Of course, this 3 by 3 matrix. So we want to find the determinant. So if you want to find the determinant of 3 by 3 matrix, you have plus minus plus. That's the editing. So if you want to find the determinant of 3 by 3 matrix, is that use the normal rule or column approach, or you use Saru's rule? So if you want to know more about that, we have a video on it where we can find the determinant of a matrix. There's a video on that. So if you want to use the normal rule and column approach, we are going to pick this first one, 1. Then here will be minus 4. Then we have plus 3. So how do we get that? 1 is along the first row and first column. So you pretend as if you cover the first row and the first column. You write out the leftover, 2570. So 4, where we have minus 4, is along the first row and second column. You write out the leftover, we have 6210. Then 3 is along the first row and third column. You write out the leftover. This is 6217. Then from there now, you can go ahead and say, if you want to find the determinant of 2 by 2 matrix, it is you multiply the leading diagonal minus the other diagonal. That's how to find the determinant. This will now be 2 times 0 is 0 minus 7 times 5, 35. Then minus 4 into bracket 6 times 0 is 0 minus 1 times 2, 2. Then plus 3 into bracket 6 times 7, 42 minus 1 times 2, 2. So from there, we are going to have 1 into bracket minus 35 minus 4 into bracket. No, when I pick this second one, it is 5. Here is 5. Because when you cover this, it will be 6510. So I'm going to have 5 here. That will be minus 5. Then plus 3 into bracket 42 minus, that's 40. So here I'm going to have minus 35. Minus times minus is plus. 4 times 5, 20 plus 120. So 120 plus 20, that's 140. Minus 35, that will be 105. So the determinant of A is equal to 105. So the determinant of A is going to give us 105. So this is how to find determinant of 3 by 3 matrix. So if this 2 by 2 matrix is very simple and straightforward. If you have to find the determinant of 2 by 2 matrix, that one is very simple and straightforward. What is expected is that, let's say you are given a matrix 1048. So let's say you are given a matrix B. So we have discussed matrix and you have video on matrices. So if you want to find the determinant of a matrix, 2 by 2 matrix, then just say determinant. This is the notation for determinants. Will now be you multiply the leading diagonal, element along the leading diagonal minus element along the other diagonal. So you are going to have it to be 1 times 8 minus 4 times 0. Okay, and that will be 8 minus 4 times 0 is 0. So it's going to be 8. So if the question is 2 by 2 matrix and you have to find determinant, just multiply the leading diagonal, multiply this by this, then minus this by this. So you don't need to calculate anywhere. Just look at the question and get the answer. So that is how to do. That's how to find the matrix, the determinant of a matrix. So, well, let's take another question on polynomial. In this case now we have if f of x minus 2 is equal to 3x squared plus 4x plus 1. Find f of 1. Look at this very well. We are given f of x minus 2. X minus 2 here is equal to this. So we want to find f of 1. So f of 1 simply means this our x. When we subtract x from minus 2 from x, we must get 1. That is, just equate what you have here and there. Say x minus 2 is equal to 1. Then x is equal to 1 plus 2. X is equal to 3. So it is f of 3. It is when x is equal to 3 that will give us f of 1. That is, you say f into bracket 3 minus 1 is equal to 3 minus 2. What is 3 minus 2? F into bracket 1. So we'll substitute for x when x is equal to 3 here. We now have 3 into bracket 3 squared plus 4 into bracket 3 plus 1. Then here we are going to have 3 times 3. That is 9. 9 times 3, 27 plus 4 times 3, 12 plus 1. So f of 1 at the end of the day is going to give us 40. So in this type of question, we have to be very careful. You know, f of x minus 2 is given as this. The question says we should find f of 1. Then how do we get f of 1? Not that you substitute for x when x equal to 1. No, that's not. If you do that, then that is wrong. So if I want to find f of 1 simply means you equate what you have here, the factor here, to y is equal to 1, and know the value of x. That is, for us to be able to get f of 1, the value of x must be 3 here. Just have to be 3 here. 3 minus 2, that is 1. That's when we get f of 1. So you substitute for x when x is equal to 3 and not 1. So please let's take note. So this is another question under polynomial. Then we take another question under permutation. This next question is under permutation. Under permutation. So the question says, in how many ways can the letters of the word acceptance be arranged? So in this question, this question is under permutation involving indistinguishable objects. That is, when we look at the word acceptance, how many letters do we have there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there are 10 letters there. Some of the letters are repeated. For instance, A, this is one A, this is another A. C, we have 2 C there. Then we also have C, we have 3 C. 1, 2, 3. A, there are 2 A's there. Then E, there are 2 E's. So if you want to find this, if you want to know the number of ways, of course we have to arrange this. So how many letters do we have there? That is 10. So our n will be addition of all the letters that we have there. So that will be 10. Then 10 that will be 10 factorial divided by the number of we now look at the letters that are repeated. A, how many A's do we have there? 1, 2. That will be 2 factorial, because the 2 A's we cannot distinguish. We can't differentiate between the two. Then there's another one, E, 1, 2. That will be 2 factorial. Then C, 1, 2, 3. 3 factorial. So this is the number of ways that we can actually arrange the letters of this word. Okay, but in this case now, we don't have any condition. We don't have any restriction. You know, if it's under conditional permutation, then maybe the question might say, in how many ways can we arrange letter of this word if the 2C, the 2A must be together, or if the 2C must be together? But in this case now, we don't have any restriction. So just go ahead and find the number of ways. So this is the number of ways that we can actually arrange the word acceptance. So we take another question. So this question is under binomial expansion. Find the coefficient of x squared y squared in the expansion, of 2x plus 3y raised to power 4. Of course, if you have 2x plus 3y raised to power 4, how do we expand this? If you want to expand this now, there are two approaches to this. If you want to know the coefficient of that we are going to have in the expansion, is that you use the Pascal triangle or use the combinatorial analysis, that is combination method. We can use the Pascal triangle to know the coefficient of this expansion. We can use Pascal triangle, or we use the combination method. So the question now says we should just find the coefficient of this. This is just one out of the 5 expressions that we're going to have here. So how do we do that? If I want to use the Pascal triangle, this is 4. Then there's a way we generate the triangle. Just write 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. So we have 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 1. This is when you see x square. If if everything is cube, 1, 1 plus 2, 3, 2 plus 1, 3, 1. We're going to put the first one, then we end this with 1. We'll put 1, 1 plus 3, 4, 3 plus 3, 6, 1 plus 3, 4, 1. Now we have generated something in the form of triangle. So it's called a Pascal triangle. Since we have raised to power 4, this will be the coefficient that we first write. So in this case now, we are going to have 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. So the expansion will be 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. These are the coefficients. But since we have 2x and 3y here, so something will still happen to this coefficient. So in this case now, if you want to expand this first value will be depreciating, will be reducing with respect to this power. Why this second one will be increasing with respect to this power? That is, we are going to have 1 multiplied by 2x everything raised to power 4 multiplied by 3y everything raised to power 0, plus that will be the first one. Then you go to the second one. You see, this one will reduce from 4 to 3. This one will increase from 0 to 1. We are going to have 2x raised to power 3 multiplied by 3y raised to power 1 plus, in that order, 2x raised to power 2 multiplied by 3y raised to power 2 plus 2x multiplied by 3y raised to power 3, then plus 2x raised to power 0 multiplied by 3y raised to power 4. So this is how we expand. So if you want to know more about binomial theorem, binomial expansion, just check one of my video on binomial expansion. So, but we are interested in this now. Not in this case now. So I won't bother myself with this. I'm not going to bother myself with this, because the question says, what is the coefficient of x squared y squared? Where will I get x squared? X times this is x squared y squared. So I will really concentrate on this, and I'll bring it out. I'm going to have 6. When I have 2x squared, 2 times 2, that will be multiplied by 2 times 2 is 4. X times x squared. Then also multiply by 3 times 3 is 9. Then y squared. So at the end of the day, I'm going to have 4 times 9, 36. So 36 times 6, this is 6. That's 216. So I'm going to have 216 x squared y squared. So the question says, what is the coefficient of x squared y squared? This is the coefficient, 216. So, and 216 is the answer. Okay. I decided to write everything here just to explain. But I'm the one that want to solve this. I don't need all this. I'll just look at this, because I know when it's raised to power 4, there will be 5 expressions. So I'll just go in between. I know this will be square. Then I'll just multiply what I have here. I'll just bring out what I have here and get my value. But because I want to explain, that's why I have to write everything out like this. So under binomial expansion, we have treated this under binomial expansion. So if you want to know more about binomial expansion, just check the video on binomial theorem. So I was able to generate, to write all these coefficients using Pascal triangle. But if I don't want to use Pascal triangle, there's another method that we can use. I'll just use the combination method. That is, for me to get all this 1, 4, whatever, I'll just say 4 combination 0. That will be for the first one. This one will be increasing with decreasing with this. This second one will be increasing. Then I have 4 combination 1 plus 4 combination 2 plus 4 combination 3, then plus 4 combination 4. All this will be the coefficients that we have. So the same thing, we have 2x raised to power 4 dot 3y raised to power 0. So if you really want to know more about binomial expansion, just go through the video under binomial theorem. So I have a video on this on how to do expansion. So for you to have a proper understanding on this, then I will advise that you just go and check the video under binomial theorem, binomial expansion. Okay, so that about binomial expansion. Then number 7, let's take another question. Okay, this question says is evaluate is under matrix. Evaluate the determinant. The determinant of 3 minus 2, then 8 minus 5. So of course, we know what to do. Just multiply the leading diagonal minus the other diagonal. So in this case now, we are going to have the determinant will just be 3 times minus 5 minus into bracket 8 times minus 2. So 3 times minus 5 is minus 15. So minus 8 times minus 2 is minus 16. So we are going to have minus 15. Minus times minus is plus 16. That is, we have 16 minus 15, and that's going to give us 1. So the determinant of this matrix is 1. Okay. So if you want to know more about matrices, I think we have about 3 or 4 videos on matrices. So I'm just trying to take the topic one after the other. So let's take another question. So in this case now, this one is under series, sequence and series. The question says if 2 k plus 1, then 8 dot 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 form an exponential, that's GP, exponential sequence. Exponential sequence is GP. The question says find the values of k. So under sequence and series, we talked about arithmetic mean and geometric mean. But in this case now, we have it to be exponential sequence. Exponential sequence is otherwise known as geometric progression, while linear sequence is otherwise known as arithmetic progression. So in this case now, it's geometric progression. This is what we are given. So if we apply the knowledge of geometric mean to what we are given, we want to find the value of k. How do we get the value of k? In geometric progression, if this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term, because it's an exponential sequence, for me to be able to get the next term, I multiply. Then I have what is called the common difference, R. So common difference will be second term divided by first term, or it's same thing as third term divided by second term under exponential sequence, which is GP. To know the next term, you multiply. To know the common ratio, you divide. But under AP, to know the next term, you add. Then to know the common difference, under AP we have common difference, you subtract. You say T2 minus T1. But since this is exponential sequence, it's GP. To know the common difference, we talk about common ratio in GP, but common difference in AP. So that's the difference. One is linear sequence, the other one is exponential. But in this question now, we have exponential sequence. So in this case now, to be able to get the geometric mean, this is what I'll do. I'll just say this is first term, this second term, this third term. So the common ratio will be T2 divided by T1, which is also equal to T3 divided by T2. So if we look at what we are given now, T2 is k plus 1 divided by T1 is 2. And the same thing as 8, that is T3 divided by k plus 1. So that's what you are going to get here. So if I cross multiply, I'm going to have k plus 1 multiplied by k plus 1. Then that will be equal to 2 times 6, 2 times 8, 16. So if I expand this, I'm going to have k squared plus 2k plus 1. Then the 16 can actually come in to have minus 16 equal to 0. So that we are going to have k squared plus 2k minus 15 equal to 0. So what we have here now is called the quadratic equation. Of course, I can go ahead and factorize. So what are the two factors? I'm going to have k squared plus 5k minus 3k minus 15 equal to 0. So I will group k is common. I'm going to have k plus 5. The minus 3 is common here. I'm going to have k plus 5. When I bring it out, minus 3, that becomes to 0. So the implication now from here is that what I have here is what I have here. I pick it once. I'm going to have k plus 5. Then I'm going to group these two. I'm going to have k minus 3, everything equal to 0. This simply means that k plus 5 equals 0 or k minus 3 equals 0. So k is equal to minus 5 or k is equal to 3. Finally, the two values of k will be k is equal to minus 3, minus 5 or 3. And it can be written as minus 5 comma 3. So these are the two values of k. So because the question 8 now, the question is under exponential sequence. Let's note, exponential sequence is otherwise known as geometric progression. And we talk about common ratio under GP, common ratio. But if it is linear sequence, that is arithmetic progression. Then we'll be talking about common difference. So in this case now, we can find the last term or end term of both AP and GP. We can find the sum of AP. We can also find the sum of GP. So please, let's take note. So if you want to know more about sequence and series, just check the video on sequence and series. So I will have a video on that. Okay. Now let's look at this now. This question says that the first term of an AP arithmetic progression is 9, and the common difference is 7. The first term is 9, the common difference is 7. Okay, the common difference is 7. So if the nth term is 380, so find the value of n. Okay, so in this case now, we have question on linear sequence, arithmetic progression is linear sequence. So and the first term a is denoted as a, the first term is denoted as a, is given as 9, and the common difference is denoted as d, is given as 7. So in this case now, we are given the nth term, that is Tn, the nth term of that GP. The nth term, Tn, is given as 380. So the question says we should find n. We don't know n. So by formula, the last term of AP, which is equal to the nth term of AP, is given as a plus n minus 1 into bracket d. So please, if you want to know more on sequence and series, just watch my video on sequence and series. We have a whole lot of explanation there and examples. So in this case now, the nth term is given as 380. So I'm going to say 380 is equal to what is A? A is given as 9 plus, we don't know n, we are looking for n, minus 1. Then D is given as 7. From there now, I can get 9 plus 7 times n, that will be 7n minus 7. So from here, I'm going to get this to be equal to 9 minus 7 is 2 plus 7n. Then this is 380. So 380, I can have 380 minus 2 to be equal to 7n. Then this will be 378 is equal to 7n. I divide both sides by 7. This will cancel this. Then what is n? So n will be equal to 378 divided by 7. So n is equal to 7 in this. 7 here is 7 times 5, 35. That's 5. So 7 times 5 is 35. So 378. That is 5. 35. I have to 7 into this is 54. So n is equal to 54. But if I don't know the formula for last term or n term of an arithmetic progression, I won't be able to solve this question, because the knowledge of this formula is required. So if this is GP, the Tn, the last term or the nth term of a geometric progression, is given as a r into bracket n minus 1. So if this question is a geometric progression, this is the formula to find the last term or nth term of a GP. But because the question is under AP, linear sequence, this is the formula to find the last term or nth term of a GP. So if you want to know more about AP and GP, just go ahead and watch the video on AP and GP. Okay, that's that about that. Okay, there's another question, another combination. So there's another question under permutation and combination, where we have in how many ways can 9 people be seated? Can 9 people be seated on a bench if only 3 places are available? Available. So this question under permutation and combination, and I have a video on permutation and combination. So please, we learn. Is it when we talk about permutation? Permutation simply means that the order of arrangement is important. That is permutation. But under combination, the order of arrangement does not really matter. It's not necessary. So permutation is more of arrangement, while combination is talking about selection. So under combination, the order of arrangement is not is we don't take it into consideration. So in this case now, the question says, in how many ways can 9 people be seated on a bench if only 3 places are available? This question is under permutation. I'll just say this is 9 permutation 3. So if this is 9 permutation 3, then by formula, I'm going to have 9 factorial all over 9 minus 3 factorial. Then what's the meaning of factorial? Factorial simply means you keep reducing by 1 until you get to 0 or 1. Then in this case now, I'm going to have 9 factorial all over 9 minus 3 is 6 all over 6 factorial. So I can reduce the numerator up to 6 factorial so that there will be cancellation. That is, I will have 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 factorial all over 6 factorial. So 6 factorial will cancel 6 factorial. Then what do I have? I have 9 times 7. Then 9 times 8 is 72. 72 times 7, 7 times 2, 14. That will be 504. So there are 504 ways that the people can actually sit on that bench. So for more on permutation and combination, just check the video. So if this is combination now, if Adibi I have 9 combination 3, that will be 9 factorial all over 9 minus 3 factorial 3 factorial. So because combination, the under combination, the order of arrangement does not matter. So it has to do with selection. Under permutation, the order of arrangement is important. So if you want to really know more about permutation and combination, just go ahead and check my video on permutation and combination. Then there's this other one. Let's take the last example under permutation and combination. This question says that in how many ways can the word banana be arranged if there is no restriction? So when you talk about arrangement, we are talking about permutation. So if there's no restriction, then just what is the word? The word is banana. So if there's no restriction, in how many ways can we do this? This will just be how many you count the number of letters 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That will be 6 factorial all over. Then we now count the letters that are repeated. How many A? 1, 2, 3. That's 3 factorial. Then how many N? 2. That's divided by 2 factorial. So here I'm going to have 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 factorial all over 3 factorial multiplied by 2. 3 factorial will cancel 3 factorial. 2 here 1, 2 here 2. So 2 times 5, 10. 10 times 6, that's 60. That will be 60 ways. But if there is restriction, probably the question says that the 2 ends must be together, and then this will not be the solution. So if you really want to know more about permutation and combination, you just go through my video on permutation and combination. Okay, so that is that about permutation and combination. So there's this other question. The question says find the value of P for which the equation s squared minus p minus 2 x plus 2p plus 1 equal to 0 has equal roots. Okay, so this is the question. Then this question is under theory of quadratic equations. So when you talk about when you are talking about roots, we are talking about quadratic equation. So this question is actually under theory of quadratic equation. Is under theory of quadratic equation. So the question is under theory of quadratic equation, and we have actually we've solved question under theory of quadratic equation. So the question says that, let's go through the question. The question says that, I'm coming. Okay. Sorry, I'm sorry. So we continue from there. So we continue from there. So this type of question now is under theory of quadratic equation. You know, when you have a quadratic equation, x squared minus p minus 2 x plus 2p plus 1 equal to 0. Okay. So once the degree of x is raised to power 2 is quadratic equation. So we should know that. Then the coefficient of x squared here is 1. The coefficient of x squared under quadratic equation is a, it is 1. The coefficient of x is b, and that's given as minus p minus 2. That's coefficient of the. Then the constant is c. In this case now, the constant is 2p plus 1. That's what you get. But if you look at the theory of quadratic equation, for us to be able to have equal root, the discriminant must be equal to 0. So what do I mean by discriminant? The discriminant is given as b squared minus 4ac. That is, when you look at the solution, the quadratic formula, what you have inside the square root is called the discriminant. It must be equal to 0. If the discriminant is equal to 0, yes. If the discriminant
Mathematics made easy, no more fear. Target online class, we got you. Wherever you want it from, we got what you need. Target online class, we got you.